For P to stack, Noah?
Right, I'm going to start off with Mozilla, but for that we shall do screenshots. And I'll just take you through what happens when you're authenticating using Fingerprint on the mobile app. Is that okay? Can you hear me?
Go ahead, Noah.
Okay. So I'm going to start with Mozilla, but we are going to be using screenshots. Since the port, we can't use the port because it's the same port that we shall need to use on the computer. So we just look at a few screenshots just to show what happens when you're authenticating using the mobile app. So, that's good. Okay. All right. You can see. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So for Mozilla, this should be the first screen, the normal login screen for the application. So when you log in, next we shall have the home screen, and if you selected clients, if you look at the top menu up there, we have that kind of a thumb, an icon for fingerprint.
I can't see anything. I can't see anything that you're sharing.
I can see the screen. Judy, do you want to refresh maybe?
Okay, now it's flashed and then gone back.
Yeah, I can see like create patient with fingerprint page.
I see. I think you need to click on Noah's icon.
Okay, I found it.
Because I know, yeah, your screen is switching between the ones looking at that. Okay, so at this point, if I click the new patient icon, right there where you see my cursor, just in case you can see it, just have a message here, does the patient already have an existing ID? So at that point, I said no. So next was to create this patient. This is the registration form, just a sample. I just took screenshots. It's a long form, but I just took screenshots of these two. So you fill in the mandatory fields that are marked red. Then before you go for the fingerprint, you will need to obtain licenses. So if you connect your scanner to the phone, something of this sort should come up, a message, licenses were obtained. Capturing from electronic device, please put your fingerprint. Please put your finger on the device, and if you do that, you'll be able to, well, there's a field here, fingerprint finger that you could select, either left arm, let me say left hand, left small, or middle finger, or the thumb. So I went with left small, and as soon as it's captured, it will display this code in form of a template. So after that, you should be able to search that patient successfully using the fingerprint. I'm sorry I couldn't do it using the. I could just take screenshots because we couldn't connect the phone because the same port would be active at that same point. So, but that's what should be able to. That should be the workflow if you're using Mozilla to capture fingerprint. Questions on that? Go on. Yeah, so just to give some extra information, for the mobile side, we have two applications. There is the Mzima mobile. There is our application for collecting patient data, and I think you guys understand how it works. And then there is the Mzima Biometrics app. So this biometrics app is one that we have incorporated Neurotech Fingerprint SDK, and it is the one we are using to capture all the biometrics related data. So what the Mzima mobile, that is the main app does is, if you want to either for a new patient or to touch and identify existing patients, then it will delegate that to the second app, which is the biometrics application. So what happens is that it will biometrics that will do the scanning and return a fingerprint if it is for a new patient, or it would return a message that says there was a match or there was no match if it was basically doing an identification. I hope that makes sense. Or maybe if there are any questions, I think you can clarify. I hope people can hear us. Questions?
I can hear you. That was nice demo. But I thought we were going to look at the desktop client.
Yeah. Yes. So there is what now has shown is the mobile client, which will do the identification and the scanning on the mobile side, and also send fingerprint data to the server side incorporation in the OpenMS database. And I think he wants to. So let's just move on to the server side components. Okay. So here's mine. Yeah. Okay, so we are moving on to the server side, and I'm on the fingerprint page. I want to begin by my first scenario will be creating a patient. Then we attach a fingerprint onto the patient. One challenge that I've just faced as I was trying to set up a few seconds ago is that I'm finding an issue to identify the patient because of the license issues, and create and add a fingerprint to that. So you'll have to pardon me for the identification bit. I'm having some license issues, but we shall continue anyway. By creating the patient, we attach a fingerprint, then we can verify if the fingerprint has been added. Let me just try to load this again. Can I switch? Okay. Okay. I'm going to put away. Very good. Hi everyone.
Yes, we're here.
Sorry about that. I'm having an issue loading this, but just allow me to switch to Simon's machine and I do it from there.
That's good.
Okay. Okay, can you see the screen? Simon's screen?
Yes. Noah, you can drop your screen share from yours, just avoid confusion for some member.
Okay, just a second.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, so the challenge that I'm having right now is identification due to the license. But as I said, you'll pardon me on that, but we shall continue anyway with other scenarios. So I'm going to start the scanner. Then I'll be able to attach it to the given patient. So, device. So at that point, I just put my finger on the scanner, and it happened that no patient was found with that fingerprint. So I'm going to register one patient. We shall add the fingerprint to the registered patient. So if I have one called Mike Mulongo, then I will MRS ID. I'll use 166 166 166 dash X. So the date of birth. Date of birth organization. 1990. Great. Okay, so you realize this patient, the fingerprint is already attached, so we create, that is Mike. So that's the oh man. I can't hear anything. What's going on?
I think they're on mute. So Noah and Simon, you guys are on mute, just FYI.
Hello, Edna.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah, we just encountered some error.
Okay.
That's just made us out the process a little bit, but we are still on. Okay, let me have a chance. Okay. Edna, I think you could switch to my screen.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay. Okay. Okay, let me just continue with this. Let me just do the process again, creating the patient. Yeah. So it was Mike. So where's ID? Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, Noah?
Yeah, so I've created this page, and I realized that we were able to add the fingerprint. Now, I apologize, I have a challenge of identification due to the license issues. So I won't be able to scan and identify it has been attached to Mike. And if everything went well, like normally does go wrong during presentations, but if all went well, I could be able to scan this patient using the fingerprint that I just attached. So basically, that's how the desktop side works. You can create a patient and add a fingerprint to the patient. Alternatively, if there's a patient within the system, you could attach a fingerprint to that patient. So the scenario is you can attach a fingerprint to an existing patient who didn't have one, or you can create a new patient with a fingerprint. Then you can be able to search those two patients or whatever number of patients you created using the fingerprint. So basically, that's a view of the desktop side of OpenMRS. We are running it on Mozilla and Opera, but right now I'm using Mozilla, and we are using applets. We can't use Google Chrome. Last time we talked about the issue of applets. I think another view may be using his demo, because I don't think he's using the applets approach. But that's what we have, and we welcome any questions. Yeah, so just to address the licensing problems, what we are currently using is a trial version that expires every 4 weeks. So if we download an SDK from Neurotech, it expires 4 weeks. and then you have to download a new one again. So
what
in the
fingerprint
last,
reader are you using? What fingerprint reader device are you using?
Filtronic.
No, Filtronic's FS88.
It is Filtronic model FS18.
FS80. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was saying, so in the last 3 weeks, we've noticed that somehow, I think there's some kind of restriction that Neurotech is applying, because what they want is, if you use the SDK for 4 weeks, then it, the trial version expires, you're supposed to, and yet we keep on downloading the same trial version. So I emailed them, and they kind of re-enabled it for another 4 weeks, and we realized something has expired again, because they enabled from mobile side, and the server side was already working, so we didn't ask them to renew for the server side.
And do you have to use the command line to activate the license, or is it?
No, every time it runs to do the scan and identification license against Neurotech server. So there has to be internet connection, and you have to run that activator.
Okay, so it has to be connected to the internet.
Yes.
Oh. Yeah, I tried the suggestion to sorry, I'm very sorry that I don't know how to fix this. This is like just a button that I always click for screen sharing and it works, but on this machine, in this browser, I don't see that. Like it's disabled here.
Yeah, maybe we can reschedule another time for Satoshi for you to do your demo, maybe, since it seems like there's some issues on using Hangout as well as Uber conference from your side.
Yeah, it's the same. I think they use the same technology or something. Both of the solutions. So
yeah. So maybe before we wrap up today's call, just wonder if anyone have comments and questions on Noah's demo or feedback. No. No. Okay.
And one thing was, do you all use the legacy UI interface only, or do you also use the reference application?
So yeah, right now we're using the legacy UI. It's definitely we need to update on the UI to use the perspective that consistent with other Uzima UI pages. That was done like long ago. That is looks a little bit older version, and we also have consider to have anything to be done on the web app at the moment. But I think as long as what's currently working, it should not be like it's not like a lot of work to make it to be compatible with the web app.
Okay, and
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
and how important is it to run on multiple devices? Is it like important that you run on multiple devices, or just one is fine, like fingerprint scanner?
So with this trial license, we only have one license per I mean, we're only allowed to use one device, but if you purchase the SDK, then you can use for so many users. Actually, as you can see on our screen right now, I'm sharing the activator that I was talking about. So as you can see, we have a number of items licensed. So the fingerprint client, the extractor, the matcher, and so on. And it tells how much time is left for expiry. So after these 2 weeks, for us to continue using it, it means we have to download again the SDK from Neurotech website. But once we purchase the SDK license, then we will not need to be doing this every 4 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, so some of the issues we are facing is that sometimes it breaks the code when we download new versions of the SDK. That's what we've noticed in the last couple of weeks. And they don't have, their documentation is not quite good to give us a picture of what has changed and what has not. And that's why we are facing some of these problems. And it is actually the reason why we were looking for an open source SDK that we shall have much more control on how we use it.
Not necessarily on the demo. So what will we use next time for the call to make sure that this works? And should we try something of that sort right now?
I'm going to try my old computer again because I'm trying this on Michael's new laptop. I haven't used this before. And I don't see screen share, so I'll go back to my old Windows machine and run a VM using for a bit.
Is there a situation where if someone was dialed in onto the Hangouts, but I guess the camera is front facing?
Yeah, and this is screen sharing, so it uses, I think, RTC or something, which might be disabled somewhere in the system. Did we lose Ada?
Yeah, sorry, I got I'm back. So if there's no more feedback, we can wrap this up and then we can schedule a different time for Satachi to do the demo. Would that be okay for everyone?
Yep. Yeah, that should be fine.
Okay, so thank you so much for attending, also doing the demo, Noah. and everyone attending the call, and also asking some, providing some feedback and questions. And I think that it sounds like it makes sense for us to look at Satoshi's demo, and then after that to identify the gaps, how we can collaborate and then make it to work better together, as well as to find a open source solutions for the fingerprints technology. So we will in touch with everyone, and we'll talk again. Thanks, everyone.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.